You're watching Mirror Now. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a big impact today after we asked for clarity. Just last night, the Attorney General has informed the Supreme Court that Aadhaar is not compulsory for obtaining a new SIM card. The AG has also assured that no biometric data has been shared under the Aadhaar Act. The Attorney General was, however, of the opinion that linking Aadhaar to SIM cards will help in reducing fraud. Now, that's the question really we're asking today. Joining me in the studio, Vineet Goenka, member of the Governing Council of the CRIS and former convener of the BJP IT cell. Ritesh Bhatia is a cybersecurity expert. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. So now, finally, we have the clarity that we were talking about last night. But the question that we have to ask at this point is, do the citizens of India, or are the citizens of India owed an apology? Vineet Goenka, do you believe you're owed an apology?
I think so. The point is very clear. The court has been giving extension once and twice, and then it has said the extension has been given to perpetuity. Let the court come back and tell us when is the last date of getting this linked in. And if there is any confusion, this is an interpretation confusion. There is nothing a question of any kind of apology or any kind of feeling bad about this entire episode.
Ritesh, do you agree that there's no reason to feel bad? There's no reason for an apology?
I think there is a reason of apology because this is like kind of breach of trust. You know, we trusted the government, or we trusted the Supreme Court that we felt that this is what they have said, and hence the center and the DOT, they issued the circular, and we went according to as per that. People started going in the lines again to get their eKYC done or KYC done related to your SIM cards and all. And now suddenly, we hear from Supreme Court, we never said this. And the government then says that the next day, Kia, we lied, so what?
No, the government never said we lied. The government said it is under the Telegraph Act.
Yes, yes.
So the government, as an elected government, has a right to get things done. And it is a business as usual. So there is nothing kind of lying by anybody. It is an interpretation issue. You can interpret something like that. I interpret it as a very good thing. If you ask me personal opinion, I would request everybody to link it. Yet right now also, no, because linking is a very good thing.
But I agree with you. So let's break down this argument, right? I agree with you that under the Telegraph Act, the DOT or the Department of Telecommunications has the authority to ask us all to do KYC with Aadhaar. But what the DOT actually did was say that the Supreme Court has asked us to do it, which the Supreme Court never did. That amounts to lying or misrepresentation, doesn't it, Vinny?
I don't know the exact wording which is going on because I could not read that exact line. But I have been given operation, even the minister also tweeted that it was the court which said that. And then over the period, everybody else. And there were 2 extensions by the court. Now, what would the court do? Why would the court give 2 extensions? Now, probably there was somebody who misinterpreted it, maybe. But there is something called lied or there's somebody doing it deliberately because the government has an authority under Telegraph Act which it did it. And the intention is very good. The intention is to bring in transparency, to bring in cost efficiency in the public consolidated fund of India. So I think the entire impact is good. And the courts have not taken objections on it. Understand? The court has said, let us not do a finalization of the date. It has given 2 extensions. Now it has given an extension of perpetuity. The courts have not stopped it. So there is no question of lying or there is somebody trying to deliberately doing with an intention.
But the judges got angry, right?
No,
yes.
They did get very angry about it.
I have already said in this channel, and I said, many times what happens is, see, earlier days, the court proceeding used to get over and the end of the proceeding, we used to get judgment in the hand. So people would go by the judgment. Today what is happening is the access which is there, every line, every expression of the judge or the lawyers on both the side is been recorded and that is been discussed and debated. So probably we don't have to go too much in detail about what this is.
I have an answer for that. And to be fair, here's my answer. There has been such a lack of clear communication from the government of India when it comes to this sort of thing. Link, don't link. Is it compulsory? Is it not compulsory? Should we actually do it? Should we not do it? That obviously people are looking for any sort of official information we can get. And if the lawyer who represents the government of India is making a submission to the Supreme Court, one assumes it's not casual conversation. It is reportable conversation. The Supreme Court gives us, as per the law, we are allowed to report that information. So we are reporting it. Now, when was the last time the government of India came out and officially told us where it stands on Aadhaar? Not on Twitter, but actually put out official information saying Shamshan Ghat, not compulsory. Mobile phone, yes, compulsory. LPG cylinder, yes, compulsory. School admission, not compulsory. Put out the stand. Make it clear to your citizens where you stand.
Twitter is one part of communication, and we'll have to respect that today's social media, it gives access to many people. So be it Twitter or Facebook or any other media. I think government fairly has been very communicable, and they have communicated in various forums. So not only on televisions or by through their notices or agenda copies, but it has been done on every platform available. The minister has spoken about it, the secretary has spoken about it, the CEO Aadhaar has spoken about it, and there have been discussions. Now, in this country, when we take any decision, there are people who have to object to that, and probably those people who wanted to object to it could not see through the clear communication issue was there. The communication was business
I disagree.
as usual.
As a journalist, we've spent a lot of time looking for clarity. We've actually actively called the Department of Telecommunications. We've had to call the ministries, ask for clarity. They've not offered us any. So
I think the right guy would be CEO Aadhaar.
also only responds on Twitter. Incidentally.
And there's a lot of ambiguity in terms of the dates and all that. So many times.
How many people, how many users does Twitter have in India?
Exactly.
The time again, I'll tell you, at the time again, there have been communications very nicely been done by the minister, by the secretary, by the CEO.
On Twitter?
No, official. So there was communications. There are a lot of communication which have come up. And as the case is sub judice, everything is discussed there in the court. So maybe they may not be feeling of necessary.
But again, this is again unfair, because you lean on the argument that the case is sub judice whenever you need to. But the government has continued to issue notices, continued to make rules about Aadhaar while the case is sub judice. Just 2 weeks ago, the RBI sent out another circular saying that it is compulsory to use Aadhaar as KYC for all bank accounts while the case is sub judice. So you can't be selective about what you can.
How does it go? I'll put it in a very simple layman language so that they understand. See, Aadhaar was introduced in UPA 2 period. When it was introduced, there was no statutory background. What was the intent? What was the necessary? I don't know. And in this panel right now, there is nobody from the Congress side, so it is unfair for me to say this, and it will not be good. But the intent was not clear. And when we had PAN cards, when we had passport, when we had ration card, why one more identity? So there was no need of identity, because there were other identities. There was driving license, there was passport, everything was there. So probably the intent and the name itself, unique identification, was that more or less someday
but
all
is
the
it not
identities
true?
go
Okay,
off.
is it, if you're going to call on the past of the Congress, then is it not true that every member of the BJP back then called Aadhaar a massive scam?
Exactly. So including me. So
Yes.
I'm not talking about anybody else, including me. I was criticizing that. The reason, because it was not having a statutory background. Two, what was the purpose was not known. So what I think is the policy makers came together and said, okay, already there is an investment been done and it's a good scheme. So read it about. They brought in a money bill. The money bill gave a statutory input to that. Two, then it was put to a purpose. The purpose is what? To bring in transparency. I'll give you a very small example and you'll really appreciate. See, we were all under impression that there is a lack of teachers per student. And the gap was in X. I don't have an immediate number, I would have given you the number. So we thought there is a gap of teachers which is X number. But when Aadhaar was linked, they identified it was not only X, it was X plus Y, because there were more ghost teachers. So when we were thinking that there was X number of teachers in the country, the X number of teachers were having ghost teachers. One teacher going to 2 different colleges or schools and teaching, and they were ghost teachers. So Aadhaar helped us to identify who are the ghost teachers. And this gives us a real
How
gap.
are
in
you
this
fingerprinting
planning.
the teachers before they go to
No, you
school?
don't have to fingerprint. They just have to tell the numbers. So once you start telling them, okay, you identify yourself, you do a KYC, the people who are
Does that
not
work,
so.
Ritesh?
Make
But
full
then
statement.
again, Aadhaar has been meant for authentication and not for identification.
This is only what was authentication.
No, how this was? They just
Ritesh ji.
gave her Aadhaar
No,
number.
I'll tell you. Once.
But then what about the
Yeah, let
other
me
things
complete,
that
let me
were
complete.
there?
Okay.
So
Let
they
me-
were
let me make a
failures.
sense.
It was
Let
a
me make
system
a
All right,
failure.
just one second.
Let me make a sense.
Yeah,
Let me make a sense of
I'll
this.
come back to this point, but Captain Jagpal is on the phone line from Rohtak. Our phone lines are ringing. I think it's because both of you are in the studio. Captain Jagpal, go ahead, please.
Look at the falsehood that they are spreading,
Okay.
and look at the guts and the cheeks through which they lie to the nation. What they want to do is, when you join a service, you must have Aadhaar and PAN before your salary is released. If you go to district court, Rohtak, if you want to file a case, give them the Aadhaar number. If you are a retired army officer, you are BRC bar, you are PVC, you are BSN, ABSN, PVSN. You want to renew your canteen card, they want Aadhaar. Our mistake is, we gave these Niradhar some Aadhaar to govern. When you come to the polls this time, we will ask you your Aadhaar and tell you, take it back. You are without Niradhar, don't know how to govern. You want to
Okay.
curse this nation,
Okay.
and you want
So-
to make them slaves.
All right, you believe, okay, Captain Jagpal believes that Aadhaar is being used to control us and it's not a good thing. Rashmi on the phone line from Delhi. Rashmi, go ahead.
Hi, Faye. First of all, thank you so much for picking something which is very common and important, however, not being picked by much people, because as they say, common sense is, I think, not very common these days. I don't want to get into too much criticality, but something very important is that initially when the Aadhaar was launched, I think we all were very cooperative. We all were very much into it. But then the whole process of Aadhaar is so messed up and so difficult. Like, for instance, I was trying to update my mobile phone number as I lost my last phone number. The moment you go to the Aadhaar website, it sends you an OTP on the previous number, which is so foolish, you know. So the whole system should be a little simpler than how it is. We were ready to cooperate, irrespective of the data being linked for no reason, data being leaked for no reason. So in case if they really want to do this, make it simple, make it human, don't keep it too complicated.
Make it simple, all right. So Captain Jagpal, who called it earlier, believes that it's completely a wrong thing and that he doesn't believe in it at all. But Rashmi is saying it should be made simpler. Ritesh, I'm going to come back to you with one more thing, and this one came to me on Twitter. Girish wrote to me saying, okay, now that it's not compulsory, how do we roll back our registration? Can we unlink something that has been linked?
Now it cannot be de-linked. No ways. No.
It's like Sanjay Hegde says, it's like Hotel California. Once you check in, you can never check out. Now you're in the system.
Now you're in the system and you're trapped, you're there inside.
No, the word trap will be offensive.
Yeah, too offensive for it.
Trap is not the right word. Let me tell you. There is a need of education, and let me take this opportunity being in your studio to educate. See, when it was bought, I don't know what was the intention, why it was given to third parties, why they were spent. But when we came in, we thought that this has to serve some purpose. What is unique identification? Where you start eliminating other identification. You can't eliminate. I'll take 30 seconds. You cannot eliminate as one go. What you do is start linking that. Now, as I said, teacher linking helped us to identify whether they're teachers. The moment you ask people to do a KYC in teachers, then these people who were having malicious intent, they knew, now they will be caught. You don't even have to go through that. And people start ejecting out of the system. The moment you start identifying who is taking the PDS, then there are people who were doing ghost PDS taking, would end up. If it goes to bank, the moment it started linking with banks, we could see out transactions which were not good transactions. Probably will bring in good...
Let me rebut, okay, for two reasons. One is, if I bring up the Nirav Modi conversation, then we will wind up having a separate entire conversation about Nirav Modi.
I would like to answer that.
But as of yesterday, the Election Commission held a press conference saying that in the state of Karnataka, they have so far raided and collected 128 crore rupees in cash. Now, this entire process should have been impossible post-demonetization and Aadhaar. If you're saying that transactions are no longer possible because linking has been done, because demonetization has been done, I feel personally cheated because I stood in line. I waited during demonetization. I played my part because I was promised a better India, a cleaner India where this sort of thing will not happen. So now if you're turning around and telling me, in spite of the linking, in spite of demonetization, 128 crore rupees in cash, which is apparently the highest or 4 times higher than the previous election that was held in Karnataka. It's atrocious. Why is it still happening? Then why have we gone through this process?
See, I'll tell you. There is something called as ignorance and there is something called as known fact. The system prior to Modi government was where things were happening worse than this, but there was no way to identify this. I would like to rather thank the system now. They have identified there is 128 crore rupees been found.
No. I won't let you get away with that because it's the same election commission who said in our last time we told you it was 41 crores. This time we're telling you it's 180. It's the identification process.
See, identification itself is because when they have a liberty to function, and number two, when there are systems which are checks and balances. If there are no checks and balances, we will never understand.
There's no difference in the election commission's process of stopping cars and raiding it, which is what they are doing. They're just conducting
how do you identify where is this money coming up?
They don't know.
Once you have links, now they will find out. See, today they may not be doing it, but the investigation will continue. Investigation does not stop at collecting the money.
But how has Aadhaar played a role in this? Because you say like Aadhaar is not linked to the bank accounts, it is not linked to anything else, it is just an authentication
if you start
mechanism.
linking it, that's what is my argument. If we start linking it, the chances of people trying to do this kind of frauds will come down. There will be human tendency of breaking laws, there will be human tendencies of flowing things. You will have to put in checks and balances, and Aadhaar is one of the fantastic check and balance available to us. It's a biggest project across the world which will map people.
But it's causing a lot of inconvenience. Also, the technical glitches now.
So let me put a counter question to both of you.
Let's differentiate between inconvenience and harassment. Inconvenience is basically
them
when you
have
get
been
stuck
there.
in traffic and you reach 5 minutes late for your meeting. That's
Yes.
inconvenient.
Yes.
Harassment is when you don't get your due.
Exactly.
When you're not able to function because someone is constantly coming in the way, someone is hounding you, and it causes you some sort of mental or emotional.
harassment. Yes.
How would you categorize what has happened with, at least let's stay on point with the SIM card linking of Aadhaar?
It's both, no? The inconvenience, you look at it, and I'll tell you about the fraud also that is happening with the SIM card. The lady is going, so first the inconvenience. The lady is going, she's giving her fingerprints are not matching. There is a technical glitch, there is no network, something is happening. See, we are staying in the urban area, so we are looking only at that. Let's talk about even the rural areas. You know, the country is more about the rural than it's about the urban. So what happens over there? It's an inconvenience. And when she has to come 4 times, 5 times, it becomes a harassment. It is also a harassment for the person. Okay, you haven't linked. Daily your messages are bombarded to you. Isn't that kind of an harassment? Now, since the case is in the Supreme Court,
and I never got a message again.
urban,
I
rural.
also link it. There is no message which comes up.
Okay, so, and now look at the other scam that happened. How did so many people get multiple SIM cards as such? Aadhaar is supposed to prevent that. What happened is the person goes, "Nahi madam, abhi hua nahi hai, you go back, come back after some time and collect your card." Then
But it's actually happened, and
it's
they've
actually
used
happened.
it. Yes.
A card has been issued
but
in her name and given
to someone
to
else.
somebody else.
But
And-
this has
and
nothing to do with Aadhaar. See, this is, again, I'm telling you, this is a criminal intent of one person who's doing it. So one person does. See, if you go to temple,
So,
there are
but we
people.
don't- you know, Mr.
Yeah, I'll
Goenka,
tell
you
you,
made
go to
this-
religious place. Don't you find some people who try to bully you
No,
out and take money out of his hand? Jaldi darshan dilayenge.
completely.
There are
No,
people.
No. So the whole,
I
no,
was
see,
not
see,
talking about
no,
this
one second.
harassment.
Mr. Goenka, you can
This
either
is-
have one of the two arguments. Either you can say we have, which is your first argument in the first 10 minutes of the show, you said, we've created a system that will clean up the mess
course.
and will, you know what, just let me finish. We've created a system that will clean up the mess and prevent people from defrauding the government and other citizens. And now you're saying, but fraud will still continue to happen.
No, I'm not
So
saying.
which of the
Let
two
me
is it?
complete this entire
Fraud
thing.
should not happen
It
because
should-
you've
it will
created
not
such a
happen.
beautiful
See,
system.
my firm belief is it will not happen. Let the entire mapping happen. We are in a process.
But you're at 89%, 90%
Of course.
now.
So if you see,
what
it
will
has
10%
reduced. It has
change?
reduced. So let me tell you,
99%.
even if you're, even if it is
89%.
Yeah, it is 89%, right? 89.5. So Nirav Modi's of the
Now,
world
again on Twitter
will
it's been
happen.
shown as 99%.
Yeah, it will happen as you progress. I'll give you a very simple example if you want to take it up. When gas was introduced, LPG gas was introduced in this country, there were accidents which were happening because of the cylinder blast. Because A, the technology was not good. 2, the people were not aware how to use it. Over the period, technology also improved and the people were aware. Now you rarely hear somewhere there is a gas accident. When photo identification of voters card was introduced, there were mismatch of photographs. People did not want to do it. There were people who said our females should not be photographed. There are political people who did not want to get photographed because they thought voting cannot be bogus because of that. But over the period, we found good about that. It is helping everybody because today you can reduce fake voter. Once the Aadhaar system is introduced, yes, there may be need of technological upgradement. There will be need of process upgradement. There will be people who will try to yet find out some kind of loopholes on that. But as
you're
a
saying
nation,
over
we
a
should
period
come
of time.
together, push it up, and rather I will take opportunity of your channel saying, please go and do it proactively. Even if the court does not want, even if there is no compulsion, we all citizens should say that we want transparency, we want there is good governance, and hence we should have Aadhaar.
It should be there.
It should
no
be an
problem.
option.
People of this country
But it should be
will take it.
optional
It
till
should be.
you are very
And I
confident
think
about
people
the
of this
whole.
country
All right, one second,
take
one second.
Things which are necessary.
Manohar is on the phone line from Tamil Nadu. Manohar, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, go
Can I
ahead.
ask you
Manohar.
questions?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear
Can
you.
you hear, madam? Just one question. Now, the Aadhaar is linked to my bank account, and whenever I book into a hotel or a lodging house, they ask for my Aadhaar number, and also sometimes they both the PAN number as well as the Aadhaar number. And when I give both of them, is there a chance that they can reach my bank account? Can they access my bank account?
That's a good question. I'll come back to you. Vishal also on the phone line from Chennai. Vishal?
Hi, this is Vishal from Chennai.
Hi, Vishal.
Hi. I have basically I wanted to ask you what is important of Aadhaar? Is Aadhaar necessary to curb fraud? This is to the BJP person.
What is, you want to know what the aim of it is? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, why are we doing it? What is necessary for us to do to make Aadhaar compulsory? And second thing is, if Aadhaar is important to curb fraud, right, then what is the use of PAN numbers? Why are there multiple PAN numbers for all the people who have the black money? What is it you're trying to do?
What are you trying to do?
You're not.
All right. So first, Ritesh, answer this question. If I quote my Aadhaar number to a hotel I'm booking into, will that hotel, A, is it necessary? Should hotels be asking for that number? And will they have access to my bank account and my other details?
No, neither of them. Firstly, it is not necessary. We have our, I mean, imagine a passport which is there. You know, there's a police verification. The police comes to your house. I mean, what more document has more sanctity than a passport?
So you can say no hotel should be asking for your Aadhaar.
Absolutely no, and no, but they won't have access to that data.
But let's assume I've given my Aadhaar card. Now, after billing, that hotel will also have my credit card information.
Yes.
They'll be able to club that information together, create a database of their own.
Absolutely. See, that's why it's a unique identity. Your unique identity will then be able to, as I told you, make a digital clone of a particular person, and you will know each and everything about it. That is that identity will do.
Wait 1 second. You answer the next question as well, because we're running out of time. The question of why are we doing this?
See, I don't know, because I keep traveling, so I park myself many times in hotel. There is a need of giving an identification to the hotel.
Yes, which can
because
be any
otherwise the
ID.
terrorist would always park in, or anti-social element. So it's a police requirement. Now, what are the identification which they would accept? Any hotel, may it be a budget hotel or be it be a 5-star hotel. That is driving license, it may be passport, PAN card, or Aadhaar. So the hotel guy may not insist on Aadhaar, but he will insist on one of the identification proofs.
so
and you paid by credit card. Now, this is a normal procedure which was before Aadhaar came in or after Aadhaar. So, Aadhaar has become one more
option.
So, no hotel will tell you that give us Aadhaar itself. Okay, so this is it. And if they were linking it earlier, they can link it now also. As I said, it's a criminal intent of that individual. It cannot nothing to do with Aadhaar databases.
What is the purpose the government is using Aadhaar for?
2 words. Only 2 words. Good governance.
Okay.
Good governance.
Okay.
And yes, you are. I won't shy out. If there is a necessary on an element, then there are authorized people on authorized circumstances. If they have to be surveilled, there are procedures which are being followed. In earlier governments also, now also, if there is a terrorist, there is an element which has been declared as to be anti-social, anti-national, and that comes under the ambient of surveillance, I'm sure there are departments which may be doing it. But this is not done with you and me or somebody who is law-abiding citizen, and there is procedure for that.
All right, we've run out of time on this conversation, but it boils down to this. We have a massive impact here because we have the government submitting to the Supreme Court that is not mandatory, it's not compulsory, not necessary for you to link your Aadhaar with your mobile phone or your SIM card. You can make do with any sort of government ID. Huge relief for the Indian citizens who've been struggling with this for a while now. Vineet Goyal of the BJP telling us that the purpose of Aadhaar from the point of view of the central government is good governance. My question here is, what happened to all of the governance that we had up till now? Are we effectively saying that PAN cards are redundant, that any other form of government ID is redundant, and the only way to identify and verify an Indian citizen is through Aadhaar? The questions about Aadhaar continue to remain, but for now, this is the one answer we do have. You no longer have to link your SIM card with your Aadhaar card. Stay with Mirror now for more news and updates.